Okay, and swing, 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 swing. B button, B button, swing, swing. Okay, that'll do it. Hey guys, PrinceLaharlkun here, and welcome back to the long-awaited episode of Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. I cannot even begin to apologize to you guys about how long it's been since I've even uploaded a part of this. No, I'm not even going to talk about it. So in the previous episode, we made our way through the dance hall, and that was pretty much the area where we're at, in the top left area of the map. And we defeated the rock golem, and we finished up this area. I'm pretty sure there was also a storyline event, but I think we met Jay. I'm pretty sure that's what that was. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and continue on our way through Dracula's castle today. Now, I forgot to show this off last time because I got so caught up in what I was talking about. And, Odin pointed this out, but the last time I picked up a weapon called the Cut-All. Now, this is what it is. Yeah, the picture makes it look really cool, and it looks really awesome. This is what it is. It's really short, it's kind of slow, it's pretty fast, but it's really short, and you have to get really close to even hit the enemy, so I'm not too fond of that weapon. So we're gonna continue this way and explore the last area here, because there's something I didn't show off. Well, I probably was planning on it there. Because if you head down here, you fight some Nemesis and Skeleton Knights. And then, when you go through this door, you find another warp point. So you can use this to get between the three we've found so far. So, this is something you're gonna want to unlock if you're trying to find everything. And it makes it really convenient to get back here, because you might come back here, you never know. So now that we got that out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and continue onward. And I forgot to change this. I don't know why I have this equipped, but I did a little bit of practice off screen to make sure I was okay with everything. I noticed that I had that equipped for some reason. I don't know why. So let's see what souls I have. Yeah, I got the Ghost Dancer. Let's go and equip the Minotaur soul, because I need to be able to do more damage. In games, I like to be able to do more damage because I like to kill the enemy before they can hit me, and I prefer to dodge and ignore with a coddle. Well, okay, that increases defense. Awesome, we're gonna need that pretty soon. Because in this episode we'll be fighting a new boss. How exciting! Kicking things off with a bang. Well, my return to this LP. Actually, I'm gonna go back and heal real fast, just because it's my OCD kicking in because I lost health. And this game does get pretty hard, especially in the beginning area if you don't level up, which I haven't been because I figured there's been no reason to just quite yet. I will eventually, but not yet. So I guess with that, while I'm walking down this corridor, how have you guys been lately? It's been a while, I guess, since I played this. You know, I guess I just wasn't really in the mood. It's like, it's one of those things where, oh, we got another Minotaur. It's one of those things that I keep thinking about and keep wanting to do it, but I just never get around to it. I don't know why. Kind of strange, because, for those of you who don't know, oh god, okay, before I go on, we got Persephones here, and Persephones are like ninja kicking maids, and we got Durgas too. So yeah, we got ninja kicking maids that will, well, do karate kicks at you, and they got quite a bit of health, and you come up here for a high mind up. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I never really just felt into it. Like, I really wanted to play this game when I started it, and then school happened, and life happened. I don't know, it was just, I really want to record this game, huh? Why? Just, I don't know. I mean, I played a lot of Harmony of Despair, so it couldn't have been that I wasn't in a Castlevania mood, but, you know, I'm pretty much just a broken record if I just tell you guys what I already told you before, in that I don't want to record if I don't feel up to it, because then it won't be any good. So you come down this hallway down here, it's a really long corridor, but then you notice that Roger Rabbit here, or the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, who screams that he's late, decides to stop us with his stopwatch. Now, we can't do anything about that just yet, but we will be able to later, as is usual with Metroidvania type games. Because, you know, you don't quite have the right power to get through it or whatever. Like I said, Metroidvania. I don't get what... Oh, I forgot there was a save point here. I don't really see what people don't like about these games. I mean, it's still Castlevania, just... It's got RPG elements, yeah, and think I may have mentioned this in a previous episode, but well, actually, before I talk about that, let's go ahead and fight this boss here. Well, no, let's do some equipping first. So for this boss, I like to be on the safe side and get defense. Because we got Quetzalcoatl here, which increases our defense by a good 4. And you're gonna want that, because this boss has some really irritating attacks. We only have flying armor, and again, up and B is completely at your discretion. Use whatever you like. Personally, I don't use a lot of up and B moves this early in the game, because I don't really have any that I'm fond of, so I'll just keep it on Ghost. Let's go in and fight this boss. Say hello to a headless woman, whose head just body. That's right, we're fighting the Headhunter. Now, the Headhunter has 700 HP, but the Headhunter also has 3 different forms. And this is Form 1, which I think she attacks you, but if she does, she's not doing it. So you do enough damage to her head falls off. And then, now the head is connected to man, who will fly around and cast spells at you. Kind of reminiscent of Actraiser if you've watched. He has 2 attacks that he'll use. Either he'll use the fire attack, which is the more dangerous one, or the lightning one, which is infinitely easier to dodge. Which, he still does a lot of damage though, so you're gonna want to watch out for that. So, that's really all there is to this one, side of the boss. You're gonna want to keep aerial, and you're gonna want to keep moving though. And the flying armor will come in handy to dodge. Oh my god, those. I couldn't move those. At least I could have, I just didn't think about it, I guess. If you can, try to stay on these platforms here, because these platforms will help you in dodging the attacks, and there we go. Now for his true form, the Headhunter has quite a few attacks. First of all, he likes to jump around on the air and on the ceiling and the walls and stuff, and he also has a tongue attack that he does. Now he has 3 different attacks. He does the tongue attack, the air attack, and he just walks into you. This boss doesn't even have like a swipe at you; he just walks at you. This is the game designers using their own mechanics. Now, in my practice, I actually got him to sit there and spam his tongue attack at me while he was on the ground, so I could just duck underneath him. When he uses it on the ground, you can... Oh, you jerk. You can actually dodge... Why do you keep crawling into me? Never did that before. You can actually keep crawling, or you can just duck and attack him. But this guy's actually pretty tough. And that... I'm pretty sure that, air stuff will inflict you with poison. So, if you're really getting killed by this guy and you're really worried about it, you might want to God, stop, do something else. Stop doing that. Seriously, please. 300 health or 700 health doesn't sound like a lot, but when you can't hit your enemy that very often, it really sucks. Please do something. You jerk. Do something else, please. Ugh. Where healing items come in handy. It's a potion. What? One more hit and you would have died? I wasted that potion and the anti-venom. Alright, well because he was a boss, he gives a unique soul, which collects souls to increase strength, which I'll show that off later, and he drops his full heal. As usual. So, let's go ahead and see what this new soul we got, which is the Headhunter soul, which says collect souls to increase strength. Basically, this soul does exactly what it says. It increases all of your base stats, except for luck, based on how many souls that you have. Now, while the Minotaur and the White Dragon souls are useful in that they only increase 1 stat, the Headhunter soul is most likely going to be your in-game soul because you should have a lot of souls by that point. You can get some ridiculous stat boosts, but for now, you're only going to get like a stat of 2 increase. So for now, I suppose I'll just stick with the Minotaur soul. So that's one of the more useful souls in the game. But I may have already talked about this in a previous episode and just not realized it, but Egoraptor kind of said, oh yeah, we want to go this way first. But Egoraptor was saying stuff about the New Age Castlevania, like, you know, they have that feel-good thing, and I remember this one. This one's, like, really strong, but it costs a lot of HP. Look at that, 153 damage. But anyway, he said that it was, like, feel good, and when you hit the enemy, they give off bleeding, and when you level up, it feels really good. But at the same time, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, personally, I think that, you know, I can understand wanting the Castlevania games to be just like the old ones, and I can understand, oh god, I can understand the desire to go back to the old games, but one of the things that I've noticed that a lot of people do, and particularly with the older crowd, not so much the newer crowd, is that we always pine for the things that once were. I mean, I'm not saying that current generations, you know, are good by any means. I mean, I'd rather reserve my opinion on that one for this particular episode. But there are some series that they just kind of have to move on to something else. I mean, in this day and age, and we got a new special soul here, which allows us to wander server. In this day and age, you know, it's kind of hard to make a game anymore that's, you know, something that could be a faithful recreation of what once was, because, like it or not, video games are a business, and businesses have to sell their product. And by the way, here's the grunting, which, in my opinion, is one of the coolest looking weapons. And it says it's a poison-secreting sword. It looks like this, too. It's amazing. But it doesn't, I don't think it actually inflicts poison. In fact, I don't think you can inflict status effects on your enemies in this game. But, like, games have to move on. A lot of people are complaining about the new age Final Fantasies because they're not turn-based like they used to be, and they're linear and focus more on story and stuff like that. But in reality, if you look at it, Final Fantasy has been the same game since 4. Ever since 4 introduced the ATB system, that's the only system that Final Fantasy has ever used until like 10 and 11 and 12. Or no, 10 and 12. 11's an MMO. Doesn't count. And if you really think about it, yeah, it was the same exact mechanic. But look at it this way. It was kind of a change of pace because of, not only for, you know, monetary standards, but because they wanted to try something different. I'd like you to imagine for a moment that you're working in a job, and you've been creating a game. And let's just say that you've been working on this game for a while, and you've been making sequels to this game. But here's the thing, the sequels are nothing more than the same mechanics, just with slightly updated graphics and a new story. I mean, it's the same exact game. I mean, the storyline is great, and everything else is great, but your gameplay is what's ultimately the most important thing, and I think that eventually that has to change. Now, of course, you could argue about the popularity of Call of Duty, which is where I ultimately think that this generation of gaming is no good, because the people that, the game designers that try to make something different, like Atlas and Nipponichi and all those who import Japanese games, they try something different, but what ends up happening is that nobody buys it. So, in the end, it's like, you know, it's like they wanted to try a new game system out, but it didn't work because nobody bought it. That's like, you know, how people don't buy JRPGs anymore, because they already know what to expect from a JRPG. It's going to be a game with a grind-heavy battle system that's probably going to rely on turn-based, even though that's not necessarily the case. And ultimately, JRPGs are a niche genre, and they just don't quite sell as well. So, I guess what I'm getting at is, a game has to change and try new things, and for Castlevania, in the new style, it worked. I mean, it must have. They've made a ton of games like this now. I mean, ever since the Circle of the Moon game, they've been really expanding on it, and then this game was ultimately their most successful because of what it did for the series. It gave it a brand new, fresh look, and it changed the look and the design and everything else. I think that's great, because personally for me, this is my first, and I didn't grow up with Castlevania, even though I do own Castlevania 3 for the NES. But I personally find this game enjoyable as an action RPG. Maybe some people can't see it as a Castlevania game because they're stuck in the idea of what Castlevania is. Because they believe that Castlevania needs to be a really punishing side-scrolling game where your jumping is completely based on when you jump, and if you jump mid-jump then you can't change the trajectory, and the enemies have to be placed perfectly and all this other stuff. But, again, you know, games ultimately have to undergo change, because if they don't, they're just going to be the same rehash over and over and over again, and people in this day and age are complaining. It's really weird, because people complain about games like Call of Duty, which never changes every single year, and it's just a rehash of the same game. And I mean, even fans of the game will tell you that, but it's not that, you know, they can't enjoy it anymore, because people apparently enjoy similar things because of Final Fantasies. But, you know, it's like, but then they complain about games being different, like Final Fantasy 13. For example, Final Fantasy 13 focused more on its storyline. And despite what I guess a lot of people are thinking, I personally felt that Final Fantasy 13 had a fantastic story. the characters were likable, and and because of its linear nature, it allowed the game designers to focus on that aspect of it, rather than focus on the battle system, which, in my own opinion, was really good. So, ultimately, I feel as though games need to undergo change at some point, especially series that have been long going on. But the weird thing is that it's like people don't find faults with it. I mean, Mario Brothers is going to be the same. If you play a Mario Brothers game, you know exactly what you're gonna get. But the thing is those games have been selling good ever since their initial creation in the 80s. So it's like, they've created a certain genre. So if a new company comes out and tries something new with their RPG, for example, and it doesn't work, then of course the next game isn't going to be like the same because it didn't work, because it didn't sell. Even though RPGs are pretty much dead now, they aren't American RPGs, but that's not my point. Wow, I just gave a really long tangent on that. So, now that I'm done with that little tangent and my views on it, I want to involve you guys, the audience, a little bit. So with what I just said, I want your opinion. How do you feel about change in games? And for that matter, games that try something new. How do you feel about that? Do you think it's a good thing? It's a bad thing? Do you think that maybe it's okay for games to try new things, and if it works, to stick with them and maybe not go back to the old way if the old way isn't doing so good anymore? What do you guys think on that? It's kind of a question of the day thing, kind of like what I did back in the ActRaiser days for those who were there. But you know, I think only like 2 of you could still comment there. And you know, don't feel bad about commenting, just leave me your thoughts on it, whether it's about a specific game example or entire thoughts on the matter. What do you guys think? And I think from now on I'll try to come up with more topics to talk about and things to, you know, give you guys subjects to talk about in the comments, because I want to involve you guys more in my projects, because I think that's the best thing that an LP can do, is involve the user base that an LPer can do. I mean, I'm gonna give you something to comment on, even if you don't actually comment on the game itself. You at least commented on this video, which I love reading you guys' comments. I really do. For me, that's personally the best part of Let's Playing, and I didn't even explain anything that had to be going on, but it was mostly just me fighting. So now we come into the top floor, which is the absolute last area of the game. But there's nothing we can do here because we can't quite go up here, and trust me, we won't be coming here for a while. This is like the absolute last area of the game, pretty much. So, yeah. But now that you'll notice, we've ended up back in the main area. Well, I call it the main area, that's not what it is. So, if you notice on the map though, all the way to the left, had we gone down and then left instead, we would have ended up over there. So, why is it that we ended up over here? Well, my friends, I'm going to do a little bit more talking, because we're going to have to find out why we ended up here in the next part. But yeah, just go ahead and leave your comments on your thoughts about games that try new things, and game series that have long been standing, and what are your thoughts on that kind of stuff? Just, you know, generalize it to, like, games that try new things, but ultimately, you know, like Castlevania, for example, when it decided to take a little bit of Metroid, and then added an RPG element, it changed the game. But here's the question, did it make it better? And ultimately, how do you guys feel about that? Should a game define its mechanics and then stick to it like most Nintendo games do it, or do you think that games should perhaps try to change things up every now and then, try out new mechanics, but still have the same kind of feeling to it? So that's your guys' task, is to respond to that, and whatever else you want to. But there's really nothing else for me to really say now, so we're gonna end this episode off here, even though, you know, didn't feel like we got much done, but we really just went through an entire area. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed my return back into, not Mother 3, but Castlevania. I really wanted to call this Mother 3. And by the way, it is 2:53 in the morning, and I probably should be sleeping for my job tomorrow. But that's fine, because I wanted to get an episode out tonight. Because a certain RC Scepter 5665, his videos, one of them, got me back into recording and made me feel like recording it, so yay! Plugging somebody that commented on a video once and I haven't watched any of his videos. So, but I bet they're good. I bet you anything they are, because they've been around for a long time and I'm just dragging one longer than it needs to be. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that you all enjoyed, and I will do my best to upload these more often, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Later!